Okay, perfect. So we'll kick it off then. Thanks everyone for attending this call. This is the third Ecash. This is the third or the fourth? I think it's the third.
Yeah, I think it's the third too.
Mhm. So this is the Ecash reading review call, and specifically, we're reviewing the Ecash section for the Bitcoin Design Guide. For anyone that's not familiar, the Bitcoin Design Guide is available at bitcoin.design. It's an open source kind of guide and repository where we have design best practices, suggestions, where anyone in the community can contribute to and make suggestions about a particular part of Bitcoin and the design considerations and maybe things to keep in mind so that anyone can look at this and as they're designing Bitcoin products, they can refer to it and hopefully they'll find it helpful. What we're looking at today is a pull request that hasn't been merged to add an eCash section to the Bitcoin Design Guide. And I mentioned that this is the third call. So in the previous calls, we've gone over this introductory page, and I'll drop a link in the chat in case anyone wants to kind of look at it on their own browser, but you can also just view my screen. So in the previous call, we reviewed this first page, and we reviewed the cashew and the Fediment sections. And we started reviewing the design best practices section, but we didn't finish. So today, what we want to do is spend some time reviewing this section here, the design best practices for cashew and Fediment. And it is a lot of information to go through. So we have kind of a system that we've used in the past that we find works, and the way that it works that we think is the most helpful is if we each take turns just reading this out loud. So we pass the mic to one person, they read this out loud. Usually they read a section, so whatever you think a section is. Then at the end of the reading, they just give their feedback about what was clear, what maybe was unclear, their impressions about what could be improved, basically. And then they'll just pass the mic and it'll go to someone else, and then that other person will just read it out loud and do the same thing, give their feedback, give their impressions, give their suggestions. What I'm doing is taking notes and just recording and collecting this feedback. I won't often be responding to try to like clarify or explain, because the goal of this is just to collect as much feedback as possible in a short amount of time. It's not to explain the design decisions or things like that. It's to really capture these raw impressions that you have as a reader and just refine this guide. And this process that we're going through right now, this kind of refining process, is where we start to see the polish and the kind of better end product result turn out. So last time we reviewed the first section, and I'll just quickly recap some of the feedback. Some of the feedback that we got last time was that maybe we should start with an onboarding instead of just launching the user immediately into this multi-mint federation best practices. Might be nice to show the user the process of connecting to a mint or a federation for the first time. We also reviewed the pending tokens. Some of the feedback that we got was it might be useful to explain exactly what pending tokens are in the context of Ecash, Cashew, or Fediment, and also just kind of explain, this screen and what they're looking at, what exactly is pending, the pendingness of a token, and things like that. So today, where we are now, is we want to take a look at this section down. So cashew best practices, then underneath we have the Fediment best practices, which we hope that we can get to over here. So without further ado, we can get started. Does anyone have any questions before we start the reading session, the reading review? If not, then we can get started. So does anyone want to volunteer to read this first section here?
Yeah, I guess I can
Yeah,
start.
I can. Go ahead.
Do you want to
Who was that? Who
Uh,
was speaking?
Go ahead, Doug.
Okay. Um, Cashew design guidelines, user interface and experience. The default mint. When designing for Cashew, consider allowing users to set a default mint. Since Cashew mints are independently operated, users may prefer to use a trusted mint for their payments. By allowing them to select a default mint, you simplify their experience and reduce the risk of exposure to a potentially malicious mint. Additionally, consider offering auto-swap preferences. Should I continue? Oh yeah.
Maybe you can just briefly look at the screens and read the captions, and then just give us your impressions on this section.
Yeah, so the first image we have cashew mint metadata fields displayed in a wallet interface. Um, this, yeah, this is actually something I'm working on right now, and it's a very good pointer to what I want to achieve with the mint details or mint info screen in my project. Um, looks really good. Yeah, this is this is very much what I'm looking for or what I'm looking to implement. Second image is advanced mint operations like setting a default mint, updating mint URL, and removing a mint. Also, very detailed, we already have the option to update a mint URL, which we found out is going to be important because there might be DNS issues. Maybe we want to get rid of mint URLs altogether in the future. In any case, it's important we can update those. Default mints, important just for the reason that I just read. And of course, you want to be able to remove a mint. I think one decision there is whether you want to allow. I think enuts does not allow a mint to be removed that still has a balance, which I think is something that you want to think about when you're designing UX for a mobile wallet. Um, at least you want to strongly discourage removing a mint that still has a balance because um, the user would have to restore that, and that might be a hassle if they want to get that Ecash back. Then we have the second image, the third image. Um, that is confirmation when a mint has been set as default. Also, yeah, we just talked about it. Setting a default mint is great because there is definitely going to be a mint that the user has used a lot and trusts, and there is absolutely a necessity for the user to be able to set that mint as their primary. And the last image, we got default mint highlighted by a home icon. Yeah, I think that's just a nice little touch that definitely makes sense in the UI, and also probably has some bearing on other mint management features that we might want to implement, um, like auto swapping. Maybe you want to auto swap from a non-trusted mint that you don't have in your known mint list yet to your primary trusted home mint, stuff like that. Those were the four pictures to the mint management section. Would you like me to go on?
Yeah, sure. Any comments on the paragraph that you read? Anything missing or anything caught your eye?
Mm, I would have to go over it again, but
No
no,
worries.
I think so. So far, this all looks good. There is there's nothing I would add right now.
Alex
Oh,
brought up
this
the
is
point of this in the comments. The idea of trusted versus default mint seems a bit ambiguous. Perhaps it'd be helpful to further explain the risk of joining a bad mint. So yeah,
oh
good comment. I'll make a note of that and review it.
probably one of the things you want to clarify to the user.
Good one.
That there is some level of trust involved, and that if you set something as your home mint, you want to make sure that it's also a mint that you trust.
Yeah, maybe we can explain that during the onboarding and also during the default mint option here. So good points. I think we should move on though. Do we want to move on to the edit mint and URL refresh settings here?
Yeah, I think from my side we can move on. You want me to do that paragraph up to security and privacy, and then somebody else can take over? All right. Edit mint URL and refresh mint settings. It's useful to provide users with the ability to manually update or refresh mint settings in their wallets. While best practices suggest that wallets should auto-refresh and update mint settings periodically, there may be cases where this isn't supported or a mint undergoes significant updates, such as a URL change. By allowing users to edit the mint URL or refresh settings manually, you ensure that users always have the latest mint configurations. And then we've got two images. The first one with the subtitle, give the user the option to edit the mint URL. Allow the users, and the second image is allow the users to manually type the mint URL. Yeah, this is right in line with what we talked about with the first set of images in the paragraph before. It's definitely going to be important to be able to edit the mint URL. I think this is one of the probably the most important thing that you want to be able to edit that I can think of right now. There might be other like little convenience notes, like maybe you want to have a nickname for a mint, or one that doesn't change, that is stored locally, that when you change the URL, the nickname you assign stays the same. That's something I'm working with right now. But that nickname doesn't have any other function than making the mint more recognizable. But being able to change the URL might really be most important, because you need to be able to change the URL to be able to contact the mint and get your money. So yeah, this is a really important point, and I think we're slowly going to be moving past having DNS-based addresses for the mints, maybe primarily or at all. I don't know. I think right now it works fairly well. But we never know what the the machine cooks up next. So if we start to get issues with DNS, then we definitely need a way to address Mint without it.
Yeah, and maybe when we get to that point, we'll update the guide to include best practices for whatever changes those entail.
Yeah. I'm just reading the comment.
Yeah, I'll make a note of that comment. In the interest of time, I copied and pasted the comment. In the first image mint details, it's option to. It'd be nice to have the option to select an icon, which opens a QR code and allows anyone to share that mint with another person. Yes, this is actually something that's been brought up, and yeah, definitely. I think that might be addressed somewhere, but if not, I'll make sure to include that in the guide.
Great point with the QR.
Yes.
I'm not the biggest fan of QR codes visually, but they do work pretty
And they're
well
useful,
for things like
the onboarding stage. So maybe that's a good place to include that as one way you can onboard to a new mint.
yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, for things like URLs, QR codes are really king, because they work really, really well for short strings of text.
Yes. So let's move on to this next section here, security and privacy. Does anyone want to start this section off?
I can take it.
Sure.
Security and privacy. Backup and restore for Cashew. The Cashew backup and restoration process is designed to ensure users can securely recover their wallets and maintain access to their Bitcoin-backed Ecash tokens in the event they switch devices or experience data loss. Users should only use their recovery seed phrase once. Repeated use of the seed phrase for restoration can lead to synchronization issues and potential errors. This is due to the fact that each time you restore, you might be dealing with an outdated state of the wallet, which can cause discrepancies in token balances and payments. Single-use recovery. After successfully restoring your wallet seed phrase, it is highly recommended that the generated new seed phrase immediately. This step is crucial because the original recovery phrase has now been used and could be more susceptible to synchronization risk. Just on that section, we kind of talked about it before, but
you've mentioned good feedback. I think some of this is incorrect. They could. Sorry, I'll let you speak to it.
I was just going to say that the issue with synchronization is not using it multiple times; it's using it at the same time in multiple places. So that's kind of the only detail on that. It's you can use it as many times as you want, and it'll just catch up each time you restore. But if you're using it in more than one place at once, then you'll get synchronization issues. But yeah, I don't think it's necessarily bad advice to roll over to a new seed phrase, but on the specific synchronization risk thing, it's using it in multiple places, not using it multiple times.
Rolling over to a new seed phrase.
I think we lost you. You disappeared after rolling over to a new, or maybe it's just me. I'm getting a red bar. Have I lost connection? Am I back?
To allow you to use it in two places at once, you mean?
Or just to prevent you from trying to sync from two places at the same time?
Not really, because it's on the client side. So like the mint is just going to restore any signatures every time you ask it to recover signatures. And then the issue is that you're deriving all your blinded messages from the seed phrase, and you're just incrementing on a counter, right? So if two places have the same seed phrase and they're not telling each other that they're incrementing the counter, they're both going to be deriving the same secret in two places and trying to use it both because they're not talking to each other, right? So the mint's gonna see it and say, I've already signed this. So the second person to try and use it is going to get all these errors that say, oh, you've already tried to use this, and then they're going to have to increment again and get to the next one. And then so they'll just be racing each other constantly to find the newest one. So it's not a risk of loss of funds. It's just the wallets will have to handle more errors and the mints will have to handle more errors. So you won't lose funds is an important point, I guess, but you just don't really want to be using the same seed in two places. Unless you are doing something really smart like Uni does with the version secure storage and stuff, but that's a bit out of scope of this, I think, in basic Cashew wallets.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'll continue. You got some pictures here on the left. Now let's back up recovery phrase. So prompts you for your normal seed phrase. We've kind of seen this in Bitcoin wallets and stuff for years now. So I think that's all fine. Your mint details. So it looks like it also prompts you for your mints because you also will need to know your mints. My one question kind of on the images is like, at what point are you now getting the backing up the mint thing, right? Because when you open a new wallet, the wallet can generate a seed for you, but then you kind of have to enter the mints. So that kind of can't be right at the start. And the other issue with the backing up the mints is it will constantly change if you're adding new mints all the time. So that's something to keep in mind. You kind of have to keep track of what mints you use over time and remember to back those up. And it can't just be when you start the wallet. I think maybe that goes to like kind of the default / trusted mints we were talking about. Like maybe it should be discouraged from having many mints and swapping to your default home mint. And that way you can kind of keep this list a bit static. And you're only using 4 or whatever mints. Deterministic wallet with seed phrase Cash uses deterministic wallet model where all cryptographic keys and Bitcoin-backed Ecash tokens can be derived from a single seed phrase. The seed phrase can be generated when the wallet is first created or at any point in the time when the user wants to back up their wallet. Yeah, so the seed phrase has to be derived at the beginning. Yeah, go for it.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. I just had a question, so I can like take the question after you finish talking about this.
Okay. Yeah, so seed phrase has to be derived at the beginning, but it could be, you could delay actually showing it to the user until later. That's kind of a UX question, but yeah, the actual seed phrase itself has to be derived at the start, so all the messages can be derived from that seed phrase. Secure storage, user advised to store their seed phrase securely. It's crucial to keep their seed phrase in a physical format and stored in secure location to prevent unauthorized access or loss. Of best practice in backup and recovery sections apply to Cashew as well. Yeah, so I mean, this part is largely similar to Bitcoin wallets, except for the mint being dynamic, and you have it that can change over time. So yeah. I don't know if you want to ask your question now, or
Yeah, no, I can ask the question. Like, so the question I have is like, is it one seed phrase per mint for a user, or how does that work?
one seed phrase per mint. Is that what your question?
Yeah. Is it like that, or am I completely misunderstanding how this works?
It's one seed phrase per wallet, and then each key set will use a different derivation path. Yeah, so it's per wallet. So the user only has to back up one seed phrase, and then the wallet knows what derivation paths to use based on the key set IDs. So yeah, it's one seed phrase per wallet, not per mint.
All right. Yeah. Okay, that's awesome.
Okay. But you have to know which mints you've used in order to connect to them again to restore. Is the issue. So there's the two pieces you need to know. You need to know your seed phrase and what mints you're attempting to restore from. Yeah, so the mint information, keep a record of the mints you are connected to during the restoration process. You will need to reconnect to these specific mints to re-verify your tokens. Without the information, you will not be able to fully restore your wallet. I would change re-verify to reissue, but I mean, that's kind of nitpicking, I guess.
Cool. Noted. You want to take restoration as well?
Yeah, sure. I don't mind. Yeah, restoration, manual restoration. So these are images now. Manual restoration to restore your wallet manually. You need to provide your recovery phrase, which is a 12-word. It's a little bit blurry for me, so I'm just.
That's fine. This is all pretty standard, so I wouldn't worry
exactly
about these. It's basically a copy and paste of the other guides.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're entering your seed phrase and what mints you've connected to, and then I guess hitting continue, and the restore will happen. Yeah. Okay. Seed phrase entry. When restoring wallet, user enter their seed phrase into their wallet. Seed phrase regenerates secrets that may have been used to mint Ecash. Yeah. Users must input the mint URL for each mint they use. This ensures their wallet can properly reconnect and recreate the tokens. The mint checks these blinded secrets against its record to confirm that it has seen them before and can reissue the signature. Yep. You want to scroll down a little bit. Privacy considerations during verification. Verifying the tokens after the restoration might temporarily compromise their privacy. The mint needs to revalidate the tokens, which can potentially expose the payment history associated with those tokens. Be mindful of this aspect as privacy is significant concerns. Yeah, so it's not quite the payment history, but you're essentially exposing your balance to the mint because you're because you're doing it in a batch, you're exposing that all these tokens are related to each other. Whereas if you mint them over time, the mint doesn't know that they're related. That's how you get the price of
Okay.
Ecash where there's no balance. So by doing it in this big one batch transaction to do the restore, you're essentially revealing your whole balance to the mint. So that's the privacy issue there. And then, yeah, so you're revealing your whole balance to the mint.
Okay.
essentially.
Noted.
But then going forward, yeah. So if you then, so there's kind of two steps. So if you do the restore, you now get all the proofs that you had previous to losing your wallet, right? And those will all now be linked together. If you now do swaps, the proofs you'll get at the end of the swaps, those will still be blinded from each other. So yeah, I think the recommendation is kind of like this kind of swap. You want to swap again, and then you kind of want to keep swapping more randomly to get that privacy of minting over time back. But yeah, maybe that's probably a bit out of scope, but yeah, maybe just kind of clarify that a bit to be the issues that you're revealing the correlation that all those proofs are related to each other. Yeah. Matt, did you want me to continue, or did someone else want to take over? Or?
Maybe we could pass it to someone else. Thanks for that. That was really helpful.
No worries.
Yeah, I can take it.
Sure.
Yeah, starting with metadata.
Yep, right here. Mint metadata information.
Awesome. Great. Cashew metadata fields, explanation and usage. Nut6 provides a standard way to display metadata for cashew mints. Incorporating these metadata fields makes your application more transparent and informative. Here's a breakdown of each field and how it can be used in a wallet design. Mint identity and version. Name, the name of the mint displays prominently in the mint listings and details pages to help users quickly identify different mints. Version shows the implementation name and software version of the mint. Consider displaying this in the mint details to inform users about the mint's current software. And then there's a picture of the mint settings with those fields. Mint descriptions, a short description of the mint. Consider displaying this in the mint listings or as a subtitle under the mint name to give users a quick overview. Description long, a more detailed description. This can be displayed on a dedicated mint information page or in an expandable section for users who want more details. Cool. Contact information, a list, typo, just an list. A list of contact methods for the mint operator. Consider displaying this in the mint details using appropriate icons for each contact method, e.g. Nostr, email icon, website icon, to make it easy for users to reach out if needed. Cool. Important announcements, message of the day, used for important announcements. Consider displaying this in a prominent, dismissible notification area where users interact with the mint, making sure they don't miss any critical information. This is cool. This is a good idea.
Yeah, I like the dismissible thing for the message of the day.
Yeah. Well, one consideration, is there any way to access those after you close it?
Yeah, good. I think there would be in theory, right? You could, maybe there's an action button like view message of the day or something.
Yeah, or like
side, it's just in the net 6 info. So I mean, the data's there. How
cool. Yeah, maybe in like the mint settings or the expanded settings, there could be like a news feed or something where you can see all the messages. Oh, another question.
Yes.
These message of the days, does it assume that the latest message will always be shown to users? Like, is there any like expiration with showing these messages after a certain time? Like you won't show it after this date?
I think it all has to be updated manually by the mint operator.
Yeah, so the mint message of the day is just a field. It's not like a live request or anything. It's just a field in the mint information. So there's no like from the mint side, there's no way to get the previous message of the day or anything. That would all be the wallet would have to query that and store that over time.
Gotcha. So this isn't like this isn't an inbox. This is literally just reading a field from the config.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, maybe just an idea off the top of my head. It would be cool if there was like an RSS feed associated with the mint for stuff like this. Anywho, moving on, supported features. Nuts indicates which nut specifications the Mint supports and their settings. Create a features or capability section in the Mint details, translating technical nut numbers into user-friendly descriptions. Supported features. Are there official names for the nuts? Like official, user-friendly names?
Yes, it's
I think most of them have titles. How user-friendly they are is a different question.
yeah. So in Nut 6, they are mint information, token state check. Yeah.
Cool.
I do want to ask. Sorry, just while now that you guys have seen this kind of section here, what are your impressions about seeing this kind of same screen repeated multiple times with different arrows? Do you guys? Yeah, just I don't want to ask leading questions, but what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I typically like sections like this where you can look at the same thing, just like at different things. Maybe to like focus it more. Like I'm not sure if it's possible, but like with code, sometimes they like a highlight or like darken the sections that you're not supposed to be paying attention to, just to bring out the focus part more.
Yeah, I just noticed on the first one, there's still an arrow to pub key, but there's no description.
Yeah. I removed pub key from the copy, but I haven't updated the images because I think it's not used in the spec. As you,
it's not used for anything. So
yeah, so that needs to go.
Yeah, no, but I like the section, like the suggestions of like the kinds of things you want in the Mint settings page. I think it's very clear.
And can you read this last part here?
The avoid jargon.
Yes.
When displaying nuts, notation, usage, and terminology that a Mint supports, avoid simply listing nut 1, 2, etc. Instead, provide users with clear descriptions of each nut's functionality. This helps users understand the features and capabilities of the Mint at a glance. Since nuts 1 through 6 are mandatory for Cashew protocol interoperability, focus on optional nuts that add unique functionality. Consider using the descriptions provided in the official documentation to keep the information accurate. Yeah. Want me to keep going or stop?
We can keep going. I guess I'll just share a point. We did get some feedback that this might be maybe too advanced for users. Maybe users don't need to know this. So that's kind of feedback I'm taking into consideration. Do you guys think that this is maybe overkill, showing this to users, these supported features?
I mean, you're asking a bunch of devs. So.
Yeah.
Like I think
at least
it's
for
useful.
like sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I'll
I
go.
think,
Do it. I'll go. For the supported features, I think it's useful only if users have an expectation that something will exist. Like if they're familiar with the feature and some mints support that and they like that feature and there's a mint that doesn't have it, then it's important to like prominently show. If it's an expectation and like protocol, like I mean you mentioned like if it's for protocol compliance or if it's something that's not noticeable by the user, then I don't think it's important. Sorry.
No, very helpful. We got some good comments from Supermax. I'll save those. But yeah, let's continue because we have about 20 minutes left.
Sure. You want me to keep reading?
Yeah, you or does anyone else volunteer?
Yeah, I think I can go ahead and read this.
Sure.
So we are reading the organizing cashew metadata fields. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Organizing cashew metadata fields. When designing your cashew wallet, consider organizing these metadata fields in a logical, user-friendly manner to help users understand and interact with different mints. Here are some suggestions. Number one, use the name and the short description in the mint listings for a quick identification of mints. Display detailed mint information page along with the long description, version, and contact details. Um, Display the message of the day as a prominent notification when relevant to the specific mint. Use the nuts information to create a features list that helps users understand each mint's capabilities. Um, by effectively incorporating these cashew metadata fields, you can create a more transparent and informative experience for users, helping them make informed decisions about which cashew mints to trust and use. This is particularly important for cashew as users interact directly with individual mints rather than a federation structure like in Fedimint. Um, so I think my feedback on that would be like it would be really nice to have this up top because this seems like like super actionable info. Uh, and I think if I had to talk a bit about the text above that, it could be like a one giant image with like descriptions listed below that. It doesn't have to be like four or five images just like highlighting different arrows. Uh, and like I would say like this section could also be shortened by like making it more actionable from a design perspective. Right now to me this reads a bit like a spec with illustrations, and that's awesome. Actually, that's good, but I feel like it could be shortened as well.
All right, duly noted. Good feedback.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts, or do you want to read the next part?
Yeah, I have one thought. Just like a small nit is like I don't think it's any less important in Fediments. Like it's still you should get the information. Like I don't think there's any difference. The Federation doesn't make it easier to join a mint without the proper information. So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want me to read the next part? All right.
Yeah, we can, or we could pass it if anyone else hasn't gone. If not, then you're welcome to continue. No, if not, then
Yeah, I mean, I can keep reading, I guess. Advanced features. The first one is pay to public E, P2PK. There are a bunch of illustrations. I think I can get to them after I read the text. So the text pay to public key at 11 is a powerful feature that allows Bitcoin backed Ecash tokens to be securely locked to another user's public key, which is generated by the recipient's wallet. This ensures that only the intended recipient can redeem the eCash. NAT 11 enables secure offline payments, preventing double spending. Uh, Beyond these basics, NAT 11 supports advanced use cases like time locks and multi signature setups, where eCash can be conditionally spent or jointly owned by multiple parties. When designing, make sure these functionalities are clearly communicated to users, highlighting their practical benefits and flexibility. Um, then there is a big tip, and that reads P2PK eCache backup limitations. Okay, P2PK eCash tokens are not derived from a seed phrase. This means that they cannot be backed up by using a seed phrase. And in the event of a recovery from seed phrase, the P2PK eCash tokens will be lost. Um, there are also four images for mockups, and the first one says P2PK is an advanced feature and should not be displayed as a regular feature. I'm not sure what that means, but yeah. So that's the first one. The second one is like a screen with a model, and it's titled Advanced Options. The first one is Coin Control. The other one is P2PK Lock, and the caption is consider showing advanced features like P2PK in a bottom sheet or model. The third screen, I think, is about allowing the user to enter the public key, and so it says allow the user to manually enter the recipient's public key, or I think there is some other text that should be there as well.
Mhm.
And the final one is uh, it says basically allow the user to copy the token string to the clipboard by tapping on the QR code or the text string. um, I think I had a question about this, which is why I tried to like read it. So my question was, I think Eric, we kind of talked about it, and I was thinking like, is this question, sorry, is this feature like related to like contacts? Because I thought that this public key is like a public key for a certain person, and I could save their public key as a contact and send it to and then send Ecash to them and use a very different user flow that's like choose a contact, send Ecash instead of like enter some information or like enter this public key and then
Hmm.
send it. So I and I think we had a discussion
Yeah,
about that. Yeah.
I think you could. I mean, you could build out some contact functionality based on a public key. The only thing is that wallets that support this could generate multiple public keys. So that's just something to be considered. It's not one thing. Like somebody can have multiple public keys that they give out, so that might make the contacts thing funky. But yeah, I suppose there's nothing stopping someone from designing like a a wallet, a contact functionality in a wallet app that is kind of linked to public keys.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
And
just gonna say maybe consider changing the public key there to like a Nostra MPub, just because I think people are more used to seeing like MPub in that format. Of
In
course, it's obviously just an
here,
encryption of an actual key, but yeah. But I think that's the more common use case we're gonna see is people locking to npub than kind of like what we were talking about earlier to users.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, of course you can do both, but just the hex keys is, I mean, we found out on Nostra pretty quick that's not good UX. User-facing npub. Well, yeah, I mean, it's no worse than a user-facing hex pub key that you hope's a pub key and not actually a private key.
Yeah, just seems like a lateral move in my mind.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, I think the more common thing we'll see is like contactless, Nostra-based contactless inside of Cashew wallets, or the opposite, Cashew wallets inside Nostra clients that already have contactless, right?
Yeah. I mean, have you guys looked at BIP 353 a lot? Like, I know it's really popular within the design community for user readable identifiers.
Yeah, I was thinking about exactly that. I'm not sure if it works, but yeah, that will be awesome to have something like that.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it, but I'll look it up. You said BIP 33?
353.
353. Okay, I'll make a note of that. And also make a note about the npub thing. I think that kind of matches with what Yash Raj is suggesting. If that's kind of going to be a common theme or direction this is going, then maybe like a contacts flow is worth considering. Yeah, I'm not sure if that is something that should be in the guide or if that's kind of separate from just like Bitcoin Cashew functionality. So I have to kind of think about that. Sweet. So we have 10 minutes left, and we're at the final one of the Cashew best practices. Maybe I can read. Well, maybe someone else can read this one.
Yeah, sure, I can read it. Auto swapping to default Cashew mint. Wallet can provide the option to automatically swap Ecash from an unknown mint to their default mint. This optional feature can simplify payments by routing all Ecash to the assigned default mint, and auto swap requires Lightning fees. There's some images, scanning a QR code to receive Ecash, and then it prompts you to auto swap or to add the mint. Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable UX to do that. And then, yeah, if you could scroll down a little bit. Auto swapping involves fees, and it's important to inform users that auto swapping involves fees, and the amount depends on the amount of Ecash they want to swap in the current network conditions. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's just a Lightning payment to swap. So
one thing that came to my mind is that maybe this could be moved to the top, because I mentioned auto swaps when discussing default mint at the very beginning. So I think that maybe it might make sense to put this underneath that. That's one thing that came to my mind. Does anyone else have any thoughts about this?
Well, I think one thing that could be there is like in the settings there, could be an option to set a default mint and then always swap to that. I think there is already some, I think, guidance about that. There is some like text about that already, so that will be awesome. And so this model in the third one, it could have a "don't ask me again" thing, and that's like another way. So the user can make the decision once and then just do it every time.
Yeah, that's a good point. Is like, I guess when I was thinking about this, it was more that this user hasn't set up a default mint so that they'll see this. But I think to your point, it should be clear that setting up a default mint and then deciding to do auto swap is one thing. And yeah, noted. All right, so we have about 7 minutes left. The Fedi Mint section is a lot smaller, but I don't think we have time to cover it here. I'll try to set up another call for that one. Within the last couple minutes, does anyone have anything that they want to share that maybe they didn't get a chance to, or anything that has come to your mind now that we've reviewed more aspects, now that we reviewed the entire Cashew best practices section?
Yeah, one thing, maybe there should just be like a bit stronger emphasis on like user safety. Just like make sure you like try to prevent users from joining, or like ensure that you have extra steps to ask a user if they trust the mint, just like verify them, or having the user verify that they know that this is a trusted relationship. And,
Yeah, I think it definitely a good point. I'll try to include that in the onboarding. I think that should be one of the first things that they see when onboarding, connecting to a mint. We can maybe have a dedicated screen that explains that with a caption. Definitely.
Also, one other thing, looking through like the Fedimint section quickly, like I really like the mint health and like the mint status things. Are those also relevant for Cashew?
Someone asked this question. Someone had a good answer. It escaped my mind.
Yeah, the thing with cashew mints is because they're kind of single operator. It's more binary than Fedimint, right? It's either on or off. The one caveat,
Sure, but at least like,
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say the one caveat to that is like if the mint's online but having like lightning issues, it could maybe have some sort of status of like you can swap, your funds are safe, but we can't handle lightning payments right now or whatever.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm just thinking like if you're gonna make a like an uptime score, like it seems like the same paradigm for Cashew and for Fediments, like or like uptime percentage or something. Like you could it doesn't seem like there's a difference between the two. Like you can show like like you can show Guardians being down as like that's different with Fediments, but at least for like the mints being offline online, you could probably accomplish that as well.
Yeah, that's certainly true. You could definitely do.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that in a Cashew context.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing because I think I asked a question maybe similar to this in my review. I'd also love to see something like that.
I don't know. Has anybody like tried to come up with like a watchtower organization for mints that like try to be like a trusted third party that comes up with some of these like metrics? It seems like a kind of a necessary thing. Yeah, there's Sediment Observer, but that just asks the Federation for information. There's no like third party like down detector for federations.
Seems
or
like
for
a
mints.
Alex.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a good idea. Who wants to work on it?
Yeah,
I'd love to. Yeah, let's do it.
Sweet. It's a date.
next weekend.
Sweet. Yeah, that's actually a good idea. Maybe for the Bitcoin Plus hackathon. Yeah, Supermax, you have a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just had a quick question and comment on something that we mentioned at the very beginning. I forgot to kind of raise my hand and ask. I brought this up to the eNuts dev. I can't remember who it is, but when you go and delete a mint, you can't delete a mint with a balance inside. I think that's a good thing because it emphasizes hey, you have money here, you have funds, you need to take care of that before you remove this so you don't lose your funds. If you know that mint is no longer in operation or offline, or in my case as well, it's your own mint. I actually mentioned it would be really nice to still be able to delete a mint, even with a balance, but you would be prompted to similar to how you like delete a wallet in Blue Wallet per se and other wallets, you would be prompted to say, warning, you are deleting a mint with a current balance. Do you wish to continue? Obviously click yes, next. And then it would ask you, please verify the balance to confirm that you understand you are deleting that mint. I'm not sure if eNuts put that into the latest release yet or not. I saw it was in July 8th was the last time they updated. So I don't think you put that in yet, but I really like that feature because it emphasizes you to know, hey, you have funds there. Yes, I understand the risk. Yes, I do understand I'm deleting it. And I know the exact balance. Delete. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like deleting a droplet on DigitalOcean. Type in the name of the droplet. Are you sure you want to delete it? There needs to be those kind of multiple sanity checks, and I think that actually could be useful to include here for like best practice for like removing a mint when there's a balance. So I'll definitely make sure to include that.
Yeah, because I've noticed that with several wallets where you just can't delete a mint, and I go, well, it's my mint anyway, so I end up just deleting the wallet and then backing everything up and reinstalling it. But just wanted to add that.
Yeah, good point. Go ahead, Zagmaster.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm that I also think not allowing the user to delete a mint is terrible because mints are coming and going, and sometimes you have a test mint and it issues fake eCash, and you really want to get that out of your day-to-day wallet. And if it gives you no option to delete it, I think that's not good UX. You could also like just give the if there is a balance still on the mint, you can give the user a backup token and let them delete it so that they can do with the backup token whatever they want. If they want to redeem it, they have their money back. If they know that it's fake eCash or the mint is down or whatever, they can just discard it.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Yeah, I like that idea of just giving them a token as well. Yeah, maybe you enter the amount and then give them the token at the very end or something.
Or you can have them type in the token. You really want to delete this mint? Type the whole token.
Dark pattern.
Kidding.
Cool. Well, we're at the top of the hour, so we'll close out. Does anyone have anything else? I'll stop the recording now. So yeah, thank you all for your contributions, and yeah, we'll seize the recording now. Here we go. Stop.